Anyway, let's talk to Ross Clark, who is author of Not Zero, a columnist in The Sun, of course, as well. Ross, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
I'm reading that Ed Miliband has been humiliated this morning, but I'm not sure that that's absolutely true. What do you make of their slight climb down on net zero?
Yes, well, this commitment to give us 100% clean electricity by 2030, has mysteriously been downgraded in the promise to give us 95% clean electricity by 2030. And this is what's happening to all these net zero targets as they collide headlong with reality. They get revised downwards, or they get abandoned, postponed and everything, because you know, they were set without any consideration of how they were going to be achieved. And this has been coming for weeks. The National Energy Systems Operator, this is the new nationalised company which runs the national grid, has, you know, weeks ago it published its report, and, you know, it was working on the assumption that 100% clean energy actually meant 95% clean energy, because, you know, it's just fantastically difficult to try to run a national electricity grid that is based on intermittent renewables, wind and solar. You need the backup, you need storage, you need, you know, better pilot, you know, electricity transmission system. And the government just hadn't thought it through.
No, I mean, they keep talking about having pylons all over the country, and, you know, this is something that we'll have to do in order to move all the electricity around the nation. But, of course, the other problem with all the electricity that they want to generate is that they won't be able to generate it fast enough for all the electric cars that they want to be running, for all the other sort of electric heating systems that people are going to have in their houses instead of gas boilers. I mean, they haven't reversed that yet, have they?
No, and the wind energy industry is basically spluttering, by the way. Probably few people notice it, but yesterday Denmark had an auction for offshore wind, and like Britain last year, it received not a single bid. And wind energy is proving to be a lot more expensive than we've been told.
Yes.
And it's suddenly not profitable at the prices which governments are prepared to offer for it. And, you know, there's reasons for that. Firstly, commodity prices have gone up. Also, interest rates. You know, when we were told wind power was very cheap, that was when interest rates were virtually zero. And, of course, with wind energy, a lot of the costs come up front in the investment stage. So interest rates really, really affect the economics of...
And we keep being told that there's going to be some jobs bonanza with all of this. I remember Boris Johnson telling us that Grimsby was going to be this kind of centre of, you know, wind power, and there was going to be all sorts of eco-jobs created because that was going to be where they were going to manufacture loads and loads of wind turbines, and it was going to be, you know, more stuff for the North Sea and all of that. And that never happened. Similarly, I suspect this jobs bonanza will never happen either.
Well, there is a jobs bonanza, but it's not in Grimsby, it's in Shanghai. I mean, it's China that's making all the jobs. It's about, you know, half the world's green jobs, as Ed Miliband would like to call them, are in China. And, you know, they're doing extremely well. And, of course, they don't have this crushing, economy-crushing net zero target by 2050. They've got an aspiration to get to net zero by 2060, but built into it is a lot of flexibility. It's been made absolutely clear by Xi Jinping that it will not be pursued at the cost of economic growth, and that's what our target should say too.
Well, it should, but unfortunately we still seem to be imbued with all of these foundations who are, you know, fed up to the back teeth with money coming from all sorts of other foundations all over America. I mean, I was looking at an organisation just the other week, I can't remember what it was called, but it had climate in the title, you know, and I looked up the sources of funding, and they were getting millions and millions of pounds in grants from all sorts of places, including the European Union, including, you know, various, you know, sort of private charitable foundations in America, including government money from this country. I mean, there's so much money in this business now that it's going to be very hard to dismantle it.
Well, exactly. I mean, if you and I express any scepticism about net zero, we get immediately accused of being in the pay of the oil companies.
Yeah.
Totally untrue. But you look at if you want to look where the vested interests are, they're in the green energy side, and the number of jobs that have, not real jobs, but the sort of think tank type jobs which have been created in the green energy sector, paid by as you say, European Union charitable foundations and so on. It is a very, very big industry of people who are sort of trying to drum this sort of message that net zero has to be achieved by this date or we'll all die, and this kind of rubbish. People are making a handsome career out of giving us these sort of fatalistic messages.
And that's what people need to know, really, because that's what explains pretty much all of it. Great to talk to you, Ross. Thanks very much indeed. We've got to run.